Let's start with the poach. Jeremy Pena. You may remember him, LCS MVP, rookie shortstop, took over for Carlos Correa, part of the Houston dynasty. Forget trash cans, forget buzzers. The Astros were a dynasty. Jeremy Pena, young, fantastic, but without Boras as an agent. Getting a little older, getting a little closer to free agency. He's 2 years away. He has 2 years of arbitration left. And wouldn't you know it, he announced that Scott Boras is his new agent. His old agent, who spent so much time cultivating and helping him get to where he is, gets absolutely thrown out with the trash so Scott Boras can take over and get his percentage of Pena's free agent deal. How did it happen? The Astros were right there. They were ready to sign him to an extension. They had potentially an agreement for, let's say, 5 years, $105 million. Doesn't matter what the number is. It could have been anything. In comes Scott Boras. And this is how they do it. They go to one of their existing players and they have that existing player speak to the new player and just say, just so you know, my guy Boras, he'll get you more than that. He always gets you more than what your agent will get you. Can I introduce him in a phone call very casually? Well, you know, I'm represented by someone else, Penny would say. And the player would say, doesn't matter. This is what we do. We get players right as they're going to free agency, and we get them more money. Here's the first thing you have to do. It's very easy. Call up your current agent and say that you're going a different direction. Call the union and say you are choosing a different agent. Go to the Astros and say, sorry, we're not going to keep negotiating. The Astros say, what are you talking about? We're so close to a deal. Why would we not keep going? We've got this, Jeremy. And Jeremy was taught, as all Boras players are, shh, don't ever talk to the front office. Don't ever talk to the team president or GM. I'm going to come in and speak to the owner, and I will get every last dollar from that Jim Crane guy because he can't lose you, Jeremy. So Jeremy officially changes agents, and of course, there's a concomitant huge announcement. Big, bold letters. New agent, breaking news. Jeremy Pena is now represented by Scott Boras. I'm sure the Astros feel great to have been Boras. They had an opportunity to sign a player at still what probably is not a completely mark-to-market deal. And now, poof, because when you've got a player on your team with 2 years of arbitration left who has switched agents to Scott Boras, news alert, you're not getting a hometown discount, and you're not getting an early deal unless you overpay to the point of night sweats, and the Astros aren't going to do that. Therefore, the Astros now have to plan for life without Pena, because you've got to believe that Pena only took Boras to get the last dollar, not to stay in Houston. What will be disappointing about this, and John Heyman had this report about the extension that was possible pre-Boras. It is funny watching Scott Boras and John Heyman in very similar situations. Not that I'm impugning John Heyman, who's a friend and I like him well, but agents use media members, just like executives do, to make sure there's information out there, to make sure that everyone is clear that Boras will add value. He makes a living by poaching. How do players allow themselves to get poached? Because somehow some guy walks in, opens up his trench coat, and says, look at all the stacks of Benjamins I have. I will get for you something that no one can get. Ask any of my players. This is my favorite thing to do when I was president of the team, Coca. It's not very nice. I didn't do it with any other agent, but I did it with Boras. I would go to Boras's players, and I would say, hey, just asking, is he representing you, or does he have his minions do it? Is he spending a lot of time with you? Because if he is, just know that's because he thinks he can get a deal for you. The minute he can't get a deal for you, you will be shooed off to one of his underlings, never to have heard from him again. He is all about who's next, not who's in front. And this is not being personal. This is actual data points from 18 years dealing with him. Doesn't matter the player. If you are not useful to get him a commission to keep his Boras campus and Boras family going, then you are of no interest to him. Not that I blame him. That's just business. But players don't necessarily focus on that. And what Boras does is he tries to get in with owners and then infiltrate the team. You may go back to the relationship he had with Ted Lerner, the late Ted Lerner, and the number of Boras clients who go to Ted Lerner. Think about Houston now. He represents Altuve, McCullers, Hunter Brown. You think it was hard to get to Jeremy Pena? You don't think it's possible, Altuve? Hey, Jeremy, I love when we used to run double plays together. Now I love looking at your arse right while we're playing the field. And let me tell you, you would look so much better in a Boras uniform. Now, don't tell anyone, but hey, after the game, he's going to be right outside the clubhouse. Let's just walk to the car. Just us. We'll see how it goes.